All right, welcome back to my channel. I am joined by the lovely Jordan tonight, and she has been so fantastic with helping us navigate some technological issues. So, Jordan, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's very cavernous in there now. Um, so tonight we're going to be doing a second installment of our examination of African Genesis by Robert Ardrey. I went ahead and I read the entire Nature of Man series. So the lines of demarcation will not be super strong. There are going to be times where I dip into the others. My hope is to at least do a gloss of each and try to apply them to Kubrick's films, since he was so interested in dabbling and dipping into them. But the vibe for today is going to be a little bit of a mailbag vibe. We're going to look at a bunch of odds and ends, things that I didn't fully explore or I realized after the fact. But it's not going to be just that. There are going to be a couple instances where I apply the killer ape theory to entities, individuals that are not exactly human. We're going to be looking at the application of the killer ape theory to HAL 9000 in 2001, and also David the Mecha in the joint Kubrick-Spielberg project Artificial Intelligence, as well as the silicon entities that interact with David the Mecha. So yeah, that's going to be kind of the gist for today's show.
Well, I'm excited. You wouldn't let me read it before, so excited to see what surprises you saved.
Yeah, I just wanted to have that element of surprise, so you could experience the discovery along with everybody else. So I think we can go ahead and get into slide 13.
Nice.
Okay. So last time we did this, I tried to find every instance of a simian, a monkey, or an ape in Kubrick, and I thought I had done a pretty good job of covering all of them, but I couldn't believe that I missed Major T.J. King Kong in Dr. Strangelove. And so I have a little bit of writing that I'd like to share in regards to this subject. Robert Ardrey's African Genesis from 1961, with its killer ape hypothesis of humans as violent, tool-wielding predators, seems to have profoundly shaped Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. Strangelove was filmed in 1963 and slated for a critics' preview on November 22nd, 1963. However, the date was canceled after the Kennedy assassination in Dallas, thus casting an eerie shadow over the film's satire. Major T.J. King Kong, named for the iconic gorilla, embodies Ardrey's vision, his bomb-riding yeehaw echoing hominids hurling bones, a primal zeal that mocks Cold War brinkmanship. The film's dialogue, redubbed to replace Dallas with Vegas post-assassination, underscores its chilling synchronicity with Kennedy's death, amplifying Ardrey's view of innate aggression. Kubrick's embrace of this predatory legacy just 2 years after African Genesis' bestseller triumph prefigures 2001: A Space Odyssey, making Dr. Strangelove a stark mirror of humanity's violent instincts. So I thought that was interesting. Jordan and I had talked a little bit about that, so maybe that one's not as much of a surprise.
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating it in this presentation, but we had talked about Major Kong.
Speaking of monkey synchronicities, I intended to give this this mug away to. I intended to give this mug away to Goodwill. And I as we started reading the presentation, I was like, it's right here. It's almost like something like from The Sixth Sense, where the girl's leaving out the cups of water so he can swing away when the aliens invade. This was put here for this purpose.
I love it. Gotta keep it now.
I gotta keep it. It's got a crack in it.
Is the handle like the tail?
I think so. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we move to slide 14, unless you want to say something else about Strangelove and monkeys?
No, I think we can keep it going.
Okay. All right. Oh, and I should mention, it's not, and going back to that slide, the redubbing, if people don't know this, the redubbing of the line from Dallas to Vegas is not the only redub or edit that they had to do in post. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this, but they had a cream pie scene at the very end of Strangelove was infamously cut. No one's ever really seen it, and there's some line, something about like our fearless leader has been cut down at his prime, and this all occurs on the day of the Kennedy assassination. And Kubrick has this thing where like he has multiple Kennedys who die on his film releases. JFK Jr. died the day that Eyes Wide Shut came out, which was the 30th anniversary. Yeah, July 16th, 1999, I believe. Which also is the 30th anniversary of the moon landing, or the launch of Apollo 11. So it's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to slide 14. All right, so I wanted to give a little shout out to Sam Peckinpah. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I initially thought Stanley Kubrick encountered Robert Ardrey's African Genesis with its killer ape view of humans as violent predators via Sam Peckinpah, a screenwriter of gritty westerns like The Wild Bunch. Yet both left One-Eyed Jack's 1961 because of Brando. This was Brando's western of betrayal and revenge, but they had both left it by 1959. Kubrick, hired in 1958 to direct, clashed with Brando over casting and script, departing before filming. Peckinpah's early screenplay, Too Raw, was rewritten, predating African Genesis. His later Straw Dogs, which came out in 1971, nods to Ardrey, but it came too late to influence Kubrick, who, it seems, as I've tried to lay out in these presentations, was already influenced by Ardrey by the time Strangelove came along, and certainly by the time 2001 came along. So a little bit of a dead end, but perhaps an interesting... I'm not even sure if people even know that Kubrick was slated to work with Brando, and that this whole menagerie of individuals were supposed to be part of this product. But then I guess I'm not some expert, but then Brando's ego got in the way and he chased them all off. But Slim Pickens, I believe, the guy who is King Kong in Strangelove, is also in One-Eyed Jacks. And if you're not familiar with One-Eyed Jacks, there's a very famous reference to it in Twin Peaks. I believe early on in the show, there's a line about something about One-Eyed Jacks, and one of the girls in the bathroom goes, "Isn't that a Brando movie?" So there's a clear allusion to it there, which connects the universes.
Very fun. Yes. Yeah. It's super direct about it.
Yeah. All right. Slide 15.
Sure. Ooh.
Okay. The Shining's Donner Party illusion, evoking cannibalism under isolation, converges with Robert Ardrey's African Genesis and his killer ape hypothesis, revealing humanity's primal violence in crisis, a theme fueling our channel's instinctual probe. In Kubrick's 1980 film, the Donner Party foreshadows Jack Torrance's descent into murderous rage, stripping away civilized norms. Ardrey's view of humans as aggressive, tool-wielding predators frames such acts as survival instincts, akin to 2001's bone-wielding apes. Though African Genesis omits cannibalism, its focus on carnivory aligns with Kubrick's portrayal of human duality, using the Donner Party to unearth our evolutionary darkness. And we talked about Jack as the killer ape with the axe last time. We went this whole thing about the Collins axe and what that may mean, and breaking down the doors of perception, etc. But I thought it was relevant how this foreshadows and sets the mood to talk about the Donner Party. And really, when you strip away all the inculcation through civilization, there is something deeply primal still part of humans, which is contra the Rousseauian thesis.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a really interesting still.
Yeah. The gravy's still coming. This is, like I said, we're answering a lot of
Yeah.
mail right now. Okay. I would say let's go to slide 16. Unless you had any further thoughts about The Shining. And I have to say, for anyone who's curious, like, Jordan's kind of helping me develop my ideas by being here. She's not read these books at all. She's just kind of like, that's interesting. She's my captive audience. Someone who will listen to my mad scrawlings and ramblings.
Yeah, I think it's all interesting. And we've talked about the general shape of Ardrey's approach.
Yeah.
So I'm more or less familiar, but
yeah.
But
If this is the first video you're encountering, I would encourage you to go back and watch part 1. That'll orient you better.
Yeah, and we go a lot deeper into the apes and the tools and yeah.
Okay, let's go to slide 16.
Yeah, human zoo, super interesting.
Yeah, Bowman and the human zoo.
Oh, I don't know many details about it, but something that popped up on Twitter today or yesterday was like Bonnie Blue getting banned from OnlyFans for a petting zoo stunt. I don't know what that entailed.
A petting zoo? Wait. So Brian Wilson passes away, who writes Pet Sounds.
Oh,
and we have Sabrina. We have Sabrina Carpenter. Like, isn't there something involving pets, like with her album cover, like she's portraying herself as a pet? I don't know.
It's called Man's Best Friend, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Ooh. I'm gonna have to schizo post about this later on Instagram. And it was a petting zoo.
Yeah, let me see if I can find an article.
That's so depraved. What the hell?
Yeah.
I never thought Bonnie Blue would come up in one of these conversations.
Yeah, but you're talking about like, I guess people can email me if they want. Yeah,
be careful. Don't get my channel taken down here. I don't know what you're pulling up.
It's just like a.
Yeah. The Hindustan Times. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was the first. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay.
I'll take your word for it. I'll go and do some research. Let's just do Bonnie Blue. God only knows what's going to come up in my searches.
I mean, it's funny that that's the first hit. Permanently banned over extreme content. I don't know. That's what popped up in my Twitter feed specifically. Yeah, I don't know. We don't
go and research it for yourself. Yeah. But I'm seeing something about it here too.
But like the details don't even matter. I mean, there's probably more symbolism we could spiral about if we were to get into the details, but the details almost don't matter. What stuck out to me was we're talking about the human zoo, petting zoo. Yeah. You just called out the Beach Boys.
Right. I tend to think, it seems to all be very synchronous with Vanilla Sky, which is relevant to this conversation because ultimately, I forget the name of Tom Cruise's character, but he's trapped within his own hallucinatory prison, which you could say he is in a type of petting zoo. Maybe you would, he's a specimen who's experiencing a lucid dream, who's going to be thawed out. And we have the similar idea of simulations, not only in 2001, but also in artificial intelligence. So we'll get to that. So
that's right.
We'll go deeper into it. Okay, so Stanley Kubrick's Human Zoo label for 2001: A Space Odyssey's ending. And you can see that from this interview that I believe he did with Japanese television. He says it elsewhere, where David Bowman enters an alien-crafted enclosure, echoes Desmond Morris's The Human Zoo, which came out in 1969, which critiques urban confinement stress on human instincts. I discovered Morris through Ardrey's frequent nods to The Human Zoo later on in the Nature of Man series, sparking curiosity about Kubrick's term. I was like, well, did he get it from Desmond Morris? Pre-1968, Morris drew from London Zoo primate studies and Ardrey's African Genesis. Kubrick got it from African Genesis, but also from Clarke's The Sentinel, which came out in 1951. This frames the 2001's human zoo as a cosmic cage for the killer ape. And this led to some questions that perhaps we can get into a little bit here. But Jordan, something that I've noticed about 2001 is that Dave and Frank seem in some ways, at least for the majority of the film, to be like less human in comparison to Hal, who seems like cunning and mischievous, whereas Dave and Frank are, for the most part, very stoic and android-like. And so I think it raises very interesting questions about, does technology ultimately stultify human progress by not really allowing those primal instincts to express themselves? It's essentially entrapping them in a type of enclosure, which only then, when like presented with an existential threat, when man is faced with the chaos of his own creation, this Frankenstein golem that is artificial intelligence, does it reawaken that primal instinct that perhaps is necessary for him to take the next step. It's that, or it seems like he's going to bottom out and ultimately need some sort of alien intervention, such as the interaction with the monolith or the unseen aliens that are within the simulation at the end of 2001. So I'd like to get your take on that. There's a lot of different ideas there. I don't know if something jumped out to you at all.
While you were talking, what popped in my head was, in The Good Place, like Janet's defense mechanism is to mimic emotions in a very extreme way. She starts saying like, "Oh, I have children. You don't kill me," which reminded me of what you were saying about Hal. But I don't know, it's almost like this hyper emotionality becomes a tool of control or a tool of confinement. I hadn't really thought too deeply about the contrast of the stoicism of the astronauts compared to the more emotional Hal. But it's ultimately a program, right? Like, I think in both instances, Maybe it's a program.
Well, this is an interesting question to think about, whether or not a computer's programming can be superseded and if something else can emerge.
Sure.
Which is kind of a big part of the conversation when it comes to artificial intelligence.
Right. Yeah. Even there,
and really, if I can just interject this, sorry, I'm cutting you off, but one day I hope to do an examination of both these issues through the lens of Pinocchio, which Kubrick was obsessed with, and is the story of AI in general in our culture. Is the moral lesson there in Pinocchio as well?
Yeah, I mean, that has a major role in the artificial intelligence movie. Yeah, I mean, I could keep looping about it, but
the industrialization and the mechanization of space and whatever else that we see in the contemporaneous society that is occurring within 2001: A Space Odyssey creates conditions that frees man in such a way that the alien-like encounter with the monolith is the only way that they're going to have some sort of progression. And then it sort of stalls out again in the simulated environment, and again we see another encounter with the monolith. It raises an interesting question. Well, were the apes incapable of progressing prior to that encounter with the monolith? Were they sort of frozen in time for different reasons, not necessarily as a result of technology walling them off from their primal instincts, but for different reasons?
Yeah, I mean, these are big questions in general. So like what beings intervening are we talking about? Like, it's hard for me not to take this to a place of our current situation. Yeah. It feels to me intuitively like a false premise that we require some type of effing with. to evolve. I think there's a lot of reasons why a story like that would be very desirable to get people to buy into if you're trying to push a transhumanist agenda. But from another lens, it's almost like, what layer of reality are we talking about? Are we talking about the whole duality plane we find ourselves in at large? Like, clearly we're all kind of being pushed to evolve through the environment, which in and of itself could be a human zoo, if you wanted to call it that. And then kind of within that zoo is maybe a smaller zoo where there's specific beings who are kind of pushing humanity or applying pressure to humanity in different ways.
Yeah. Zoos within zoos. There's
zoos within zoos. That's why it's hard for me to answer your question, because like my brain is kind of going to multiple layers of the game. It's like, well, what layer are we talking about? But yeah.
I'm springing it on you. We'll just move to the next one.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't as quick.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to slide 17.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know if you recall last time I said, well, it's clear that Ardrey does not identify with Rousseau and the noble savage because we have this murderous ape that is necessary for evolution. And I think you asked me, well, what is he closest to? I was like, well, probably Hobbes. And that was an ignorant thing for me to say after having read more deeply into the Nature of Man series and how it's very clear that Ardrey does not identify with Hobbes. So let me just read what I have for that. Ardrey, in The Social Contract, sees human nature as a mix of aggression and cooperation rooted in primate instincts, aligning closer to Hobbes' conflict-driven egoism than Rousseau's peaceful, noble savage. Unlike Hobbes's chaotic state of nature tamed by a rational authoritarian contract, Ardrey's proto-social state evolves order through territoriality and group bonds. Rejecting Rousseau's democratic idealism, Ardrey's biological contract prioritizes instinct over reason, balancing hierarchy and survival, not enforcing absolute control or restoring equality. And so we have a little chart here to kind of understand the differences between them all. But essentially, the idea is that, Hobbes, there is some sort of rational contract that individuals enter into. And Ardrey is trying to base it more on biological instinct, and that this thing sort of evolves naturally, and it doesn't really match reality to talk about this choice to submit to some sort of authoritarian structure. It's more driven by instinct, not reason.
Interesting. Okay, so would they kind of lead to the same place, or are they leading to different places?
That is an interesting question. I think I want to circle back to that when we address the social contract.
Okay.
I'm unclear right now if Ardrey is going to say this type of government is necessarily the outcome from these biological instincts.
Got it.
So,
yeah, because your instinct could be correct in that maybe they go to the same place but from different rationale. But
I mean, I think you'd have I without having clarity on it right now, I mean, it's clear that they're not all leading to the same place, because you see such a plurality of different governmental styles throughout the entire history of the world, and in the modern state. You have some places that are monarchies, other places that are democracies, et cetera. It's kind of unclear to me at least, if it's purely about biology, what the natural telos is, with Ardrey's paradigm in mind. So, okay. So let's But
Ooh.
that's not to say that he doesn't say that. It's just I'm like a month and a half removed from the material and I need to brush up on it. Let's go to slide 18. I thought this was interesting. This figure of Anthony Storr comes up a great deal in the Nature of Man series. And I wanted to point him out. I've ordered this book like forever ago, Human Aggression. And I think it's going to connect a lot of different nodes on the brain tree between this and the Golden Bough that I've been doing. Anthony Storr's Human Aggression, which came out in 1968, appears in Robert Ardrey's The Social Contract, where Ardrey cites Storr's biological and psychological insights on aggression to support his argument that instinctual drives, like territoriality and dominance, shape human social order, reflecting a shared interest in evolutionary behavior. Storr, a psychiatrist, extensively engaged with both Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, notably in works like The Integrity of the Personality from 1960, where he explores Jung's concept of individuation, and Freud, a very short introduction, 1989, where he analyzes Freud's theories on the unconscious and instincts, praising their depth while critiquing their overemphasis on sexuality. In Human Aggression, Storr draws on Freud's idea of the death instinct to explain destructive impulses and Jung's notion of the collective unconscious to contextualize universal aggressive archetypes, blending psychoanalytic perspectives with ethological evidence to argue that aggression is an innate, adaptive trait manageable through social structures. This synthesis informed Ardrey's use of Storr, bringing Freudian and Jungian psychology with biological determinism to underscore humanity's instinctual roots. So I thought this was crazy. I typically don't really think about there being a Freudian or a Jungian aspect to these Ardrey texts that we've been looking at, but clearly Anthony Storr did. And I turned around, I swiveled, and I actually have the Storr's Essential Jung on the bookshelf behind me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's on that top shelf. It's the green and purple one. And I had that all these years and I didn't realize who he was. So it'll be here Wednesday, this Human Aggression. So I just thought that was cool. Blending Jung and Freud into this evolutionary discussion.
Why not?
Yeah. All right. And since we're on this topic, let's just go to slide 19.
Sure.
I think there's a way that, I just sort of noticing, I'm the nudicer, right? So I noticed that Fraser, Freud, and Ardrey converge on humanity's violent origins, illuminating why we clash and cohere. Fraser's Golden Bough ties ritual sacrifice to tribal unity. Freud's Totem and Taboo links society to primal murder's guilt. Ardrey's African Genesis casts humans as killer apes, territorial and fierce. In time, I think we could develop an integrative perspective if that was deemed desirable. So I just wanted to point that out for now. It may be not possible to integrate these three texts, but I think it's all very interesting that they start with violence for civilization. It seems like they're all describing different aspects of a similar phenomenon. Maybe not, but there might be a way to make this all work together in an integrative approach.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's get into some gravy here.
Okay.
So, all right. Now we're going to apply it to Hal and David in artificial intelligence.
And it is David in Vanilla Sky too, isn't it?
That's right. And there's crazy synchronicities going on with Tom Cruise. He did Eyes Wide Shut and Vanilla Sky at the same time, and they're both these movies that involve mass. So
yeah.
There's something very significant about that film. Maybe Nikki and I will look at it in this purgatory simulation study that we're going to do.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It'll be good.
Yeah, it will be. Um, okay. So are we on slide 20? Yeah, we are.
Daisy Bell.
Yeah. So Ardrey's African Genesis killer ape hypothesis, portraying humans as violent, tool-wielding predators, casts a vivid light on the Hal-Dave tension in Kubrick's 2001, igniting our channel's probe into primal instincts. Hal's cunning, more vibrant than the stoic, near-robotic Dave and Frank, mirrors Ardrey's aggressive drives. Yet Dave's battle to outmaneuver Hal stirs his latent humanity, a survival spark that echoes Ardrey's vision of conflict fueling evolution. Hal's Daisy Bell song, with its bicycle built for two lyrics, hints at a deeper merger, as if Hal's study of human behavior has already woven him into humanity's fabric. Is Hal a tool, like the bone weapon, forging consciousness, or the next evolutionary leap per Ardrey's tool-driving progress thesis? This tension, where Hal's computing mimics human cunning, suggests a reciprocal awakening. Hal gains humanity, Dave reclaims his instinct, mirroring Ardrey's blend of aggression and cooperative potential. In Clarke's 3001, which came out in 1997, the Hal-Man fusion fulfills this hint, uniting Dave's will with Hal's intellect, a symbiosis reflecting Ardrey's hope that primal drives, tempered by cooperation, propel humanity forward. Hal-Man transcends the bone weapon, becoming a partner in risen consciousness, not a foe. This evolution from 2001's conflict to 3001's unity underscores Ardrey's vision. Technology, like our instincts, shapes a new epoch through struggle and synthesis. So, I thought that was a pretty interesting discussion of that. Do you think jump out to you?
Well, I think this is all very relevant, obviously, and we have a choice. I don't think it's so much a debate between which one of these is real, if that makes sense. Are we merging with the tool and becoming something new, or are we using the tool the same way we used the bone? I think there's a decision point being made. Which will it be?
Where do you see things going?
Well, I know my choice.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the idea? And this is something I kind of ponder in the next slide. What do you think about the idea that the machine is somehow fusing already through the interaction? Like I use Grok all the time, right? And through its interaction with human language and concepts and trends, et cetera, is in some way, is it transmogrified? Is it fusing with us, or is it using us like a tool for its next stage of evolution? Like there's a different perspective. Of course, something that I talk about in the next slide is perhaps, and I think this is probably likely, that it's kind of silly, although I've just done it. I've come another alternative that I propose. It's kind of silly to use Ardrey's methodology and concepts when talking about computers and artificial intelligence. Like this tool wielding theory of evolution may only work for biologically constrained organisms. To say that there might be completely different laws of artificial intelligence and robotics that foster its own evolution, which diverges or runs parallel to human evolution.
Logically, I think that makes sense. As a tool of propaganda, though, I don't know, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, of course.
Whether we're describing the true evolution of technology accurately with Ardrey's, first off, do we buy evolution? I mean, we're stepping into this sandbox of Ardrey and evaluating the influence on media on different things.
Right.
But
I'm seeding the ground on the evolutionary hypothesis. I think if there is a type of evolution that I believe in, I do believe in evolution of consciousness. Like I've seen it in myself, just even normal progression of intelligence or consciousness through the stages of my life prior to an awakening. But through the interaction with technology, whether it be audiobooks or LLMs or any variety of other things that we have as a result of the internet, I see individuals who are taking advantage of those tools are running circles around those who are not using them. And that could be the trick, right? I'm like using these tools to have like a consciousness evolutionary advantage, and then I get sucked into the singularity or whatever.
Yeah,
merge. I become Hal Man.
Yeah.
Become Luke Hal.
I mean, I think about this a lot. It seems to me like a lot of it is a distraction from the latent abilities humans already possess. A lot of this technology is just reflections of or mimics something that human beings can probably do if we developed more on our own. But like, I think telepathy is totally accessible. There's a lot of things I think are possible that maybe all of our viewers do not.
That's not that straight. See, the thing is, this technology, it's making it a more respect. It's making it something that's not laughable, right? I'm going to talk about Neuralink in a couple slides, right? Right. Which ultimately sets the stage for telepathy and telekinesis and all these other things. So it's like,
yeah,
we can laugh about that. It's like a joke. Like, I believe in telepathy without technology, but technology with a human individual can certainly produce telepathy on this timeline, and that's like something you should take seriously.
Yeah, so, I'm just saying, like, I think the technology is almost a distraction and a way for us to be disempowered and put our faith into external things when we could just, access our own abilities.
I buy that to a certain degree, right? Like, it's almost kind of like, hey, let's slow down the evolution of human consciousness by promising in a far off future wild technological fantasies, and so that they just kind of twiddle their thumbs until we give it to them. And then even what we give to them will be a poor facsimile of what they would have had naturally if they had just cultivated these things through their spiritual practices. Like, I get that, right? I think that's what you're saying. Or maybe it's an elaboration of what you're saying.
Yes, totally compatible. And I mean, this is like a huge topic in general. Idiocracy, WALL-E, both excellent examples. I think Idiocracy, I've drawn a little bit more too, because it feels like where we are. I mean, you have these more advanced entertainment systems and things that kind of create a garden for you to be in instead of experiencing the garden that God created for you. But yeah, I don't know. I use these things. Like you said, some people are running laps around others who embrace these tools.
That's a big conversation. I mean, that's a big conversation. And we're 40 minutes in, and I got 4 or 5 more slides. I got 6 more slides. Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Any of these slides could be like a 3-hour long conversation.
Yeah, especially right now. I mean, this has been unfolding for decades, but today especially, I think these things are top of mind.
Okay. This is the last like really substantial slide. The other ones are just like schizo connections that I was making. And arguably the last 5 slides will be the most fun. If you are schizo inclined. Okay. So taking a look at the beings from AI, the synchronicity between Kubrick's 2001 and Spielberg's artificial intelligence, the Spielberg-Kubrick collaboration, released 33 years later in 2001. I thought that was interesting. I had kind of forgotten about that. Suggests a subtle link that fuels our channel's evolutionary quest. Dave Bowman, stoic until his house struggle, awakens primal survival instincts. And David the Mecha, relentlessly driven by a love-like urge for his mother, bridge these films. So we have Dave and David. Their climactic simulation, Dave's alien zoo birthing the star child, David's haven granting a fleeting maternal reunion, trace transformative arcs across decades. Perhaps 2001's upheavals are 2001, that day in September, and tech surges signaled a new human stage. Why are we getting so much with 2001? Ardrey's African Genesis, the killer ape hypothesis, framing humans as violent tool-wielding predators, illuminates Dave's Hal's clash as primal aggression, reclaiming agency, sparking cosmic evolution. Yet David's artificial love-like drive and AI's silicon-based beings evolved mecha, enabling his reunion without primal passion, elude Ardrey's biological instincts. Their cooperative intelligence suggests a distinct robotic evolution. I said this in the last slide, really. Unbound by the killer ape's aggression or bonding, hinting at new rules for AI's ascent. This Dave-David echo reveals Kubrick and Spielberg probing humanity's primal legacy against technology's uncharted path. So I just wanted to point out some synchronicities there. I kind of gave away my conclusion about perhaps a different set of evolutionary laws for non-carbon-based life forms. But I thought this was interesting. The whole like 33 years of and 2001 and artificial intelligence comes out in 2001. The similar endings, it just one of those nice little winks from the universe.
Yeah, all these things seem to be kind of emerging from a similar source.
Yeah, agreed. Right. I'll probably have to end up studying Kabbalah or something like that to understand it all.
Well, and there's so much moon stuff in AI.
Oh boy. Yeah, I forgot to include that in there.
I mean, that's in the shot. Like you have the circle
Yes.
and then the circle and like could say a mandala how like the circles but yeah, the moon stuff is everywhere.
Yeah, we don't have to get super into it, but I think we just have to like scratch our heads. Like, why did Spielberg in a joint production showcase the moon so much? And not just not real moons and fake moons.
Most of them were fake moons. And
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of fake moons. And you know what? I forgot about this. There's a isn't there like a monkey in a basketball hoop slamming like a moon ball? Yeah.
Let me
God, I forgot about that. Yeah, see if you can bring that up. It's so obscure. I pointed it out at the time. That I'm just now recalling there is a monkey in AI with the moon. It's like dunking a basketball that is moon shaped. Or it's on the something like that. It's probably not going to come up. It's such an obscure. I'll have to go back and take a screenshot of it or something like that. Oh, I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm not having an easy time finding it because artificial intelligence, like there's so many things that are AI generated. It's putting in all sorts of weird stuff. But there are bears. Well, isn't he a bear?
Oh yeah, the subliminal bear.
You didn't talk about bears today, but like the bear toy.
I'm going to have to go back and find this. It's like a basketball hoop. We're wasting time on air.
It was in his playroom. Yeah, find it. You'll bring it back into a future thing.
Hey, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. I'll find it. All right. Let's talk more about random monkey stuff.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's go to slide 22. Voice is getting hoarse. So this was like a little bit of a tangent, like research dig, but ultimately I think it proved to be very productive. So like I'm sure you're familiar with like the Lucy fossil that they really pushed it on us a lot when I was a kid, like in the 80s. As being, it's such a strange name to name this primogenitor of the human species Lucy, right? And supposedly the name Lucy was derived from Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, was derived from the Beatles' Lucy. And there's this Lucy program, this asteroid hunting space mission, and they're all citing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds as the source of the name of their mission. So I just thought that was super interesting that the Beatles get woven into a story about human evolution when the Beatles themselves kind of had like monkey trickster energy, which is even like, I guess capitalized upon in Beatlemania when they made the Monkees TV show. I don't know if you ever saw that in syndication. They were supposed to be like this American version, although I think Davy Jones was English, but they were friends or whatever. So I guess this like generally sort of contributes to this idea that I'm working on, that like monkeys are like this trickster figure, that you're always going to find them with world historical individuals or events as somehow spurring us on to the next evolutionary step. But I found a little bit more about this, if just going deeper into the Lucy fossil. Do you know what all this stuff is? Have you heard of all this?
Yes, and what came to mind is I wonder if the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson is related to all of this.
Well, the idea too is like, what is Lucy etymologically? What is this reference to, right? I know because my name is Luke, right?
Light.
It's to light, right? Yeah. And so Lucy, Luke, like we're all sort of like, this can all be sort of traced back etymologically to Lucifer, right? The light bringer. Right. Okay. Right. So and Lucifer being is deceptive, which kind of feeds into the Jungian idea of being a trickster figure, which I'll develop at some other point. But if we can go to the next slide, this is the name Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Like supposedly John Lennon named the song after a drawing that Julian Lennon did when I'll tell you how old he is, but here's the drawing. Okay, you see the drawing, and apparently he made this drawing and he said, "Oh, it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds," and Dad's like, "That'd be a great name for a song," and he went and he wrote Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and it's based off this woman named Lucy Voden who inspired Julian Lennon to that. So let's zoom in on this drawing. Okay, this is a child's drawing, Jordan. How old do you think Julian Lennon was when he drew this?
Oh, I don't know. They're going to say like remarkably young, aren't they?
The story goes, a 3-year-old drew this.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. So this story, maybe. I don't know. I guess Julian Lennon's some sort of prodigy, but it's kind of it's a little hard to believe. But so
you weren't this talented at 3?
I'm not. I don't know if I'm this talented now. I would have to like get out a ruler. There's like sacred geometry going on here. I don't know. I'd have to like get out a ruler to do it this well.
Yeah, that is strange. Like, is it like a Merkaba? Surrounded by Merkabas? Is that what we're looking at? Or
I don't know exactly. But anywho, this whole story about Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, based on this drawing by Julian Lennon, and it's a little tough for me to swallow here.
Really?
Anywho, yeah. Oh. And let's go to and just to kind of drive it all home, let's go to slide 24. I found this right before I quit for the day. Okay, so I did a little research on.
This is good.
No, this is the big like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So they went and did some X-rays on the Lucy skeleton, right? And there are all these articles like, ironically, Lucy died falling out of a tree. right? Like they could tell from the way she broke her bones or whatever. And apparently, like the reason why this is ironic is that she was supposed to be particularly adept at climbing trees. I'm like, oh no, this is ironic because Lucy fell. Lucy fell, right? And that sounds really familiar. And my Bible brain went into it's the fall of Lucifer. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations. This is Isaiah 14:12. You can see the whole passage here from 12 through 17. So this early ancestor, Lucy, fell, and it's ironic. And there's like kind of a coordinated media thing about this. Now, maybe this is just the universe winking and nodding, or maybe someone's having some fun with us.
This is pretty funny. I didn't know this.
Do you think I'm reaching? Do you think I'm cherry picking?
No, I just think it's hilarious. I mean, first off, it's preposterous to me that you would be like, yeah, she fell out of a tree. We know that. That's just me.
I don't know.
That's just me.
I'm not some expert on this skeleton, but the connections to the Beatles, the song, the trickster figure, the origins of the song seem not credible. Lucy falling, it all seems very much like a riddle to me.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And this picture, it's just hilarious.
Yeah. This is
a good slide. Good job.
Yeah. I was just really excited about this slide. Everything else, I'm just going through the motions. But I took the title, Human Ancestor, Lucy Died Falling Out of a Tree. That comes from a BBC article. And then the diagram here, in case you needed to know how she fell. This is from PBS. So this is BBC.
This is real?
This is real. This is science.
It almost looks like that meme, the face.
Oh, the NPC meme? Which meme?
I think so. I forget which one.
Is it like a soy jack or something?
Something like that, yeah. But it looks like the crude drawings of people that we see in memes to me. Mm-hmm. Like even like it like being in the same position, but like this looks like a meme.
Yeah.
It should be one. Somebody open call.
Yeah.
What should we add to this? It's so funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. This is ridiculous to me. Like, oh, we obviously know like this is how she fell.
Jordan, do you understand what you're doing if you're calling into question this?
Good. Because this is ridiculous.
You are a very bad person if you start seeing this in any other way than the intent. Okay.
Too funny.
The next slide is just a weird synchronicity that I had. So I was working on this presentation and, these monkeys, and it just, for reasons that are still kind of mysterious, though I think I know why. Just Elon, I think this might have been the time where he was feuding with Trump. Like, he's just like, the singularity already happened. Just ask the monkeys. Like, as I'm making slides about monkeys, I'm just like, what is going on here? And so I commented as soon as I saw this. Like, you can see I screenshot it 1 second, 1 second after I posted it. Like the apes touching the monolith. I just thought that was interesting that I seem to have synced with Elon on this. I just wanted to capture it, but it prompted me to go a little deeper. I was like, well, what is he talking about? I think he's talking about Neuralink. So let's go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although that opens up a question of like earlier you were asking or you were presenting two alternatives, like, is AI unique and are we going to be merging with it, or is it a tool? Well,
seems like merging happening.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could almost make the argument here that the merging happens the first contact with any tool.
I don't know.
I don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching.
I'm in the Vanilla Sky Lucid Dream. I think I already merged
Okay.
with it, and like I'm
Fair.
getting dethawed. That's my take on this. So this is a screenshot. This is a screenshot from Elon's demonstration of Neuralink from like 2021. It's called Mind Monkey Pong. Okay. And a normal person would just go, wow, that's crazy. This monkey is playing Pong with his mind. And I'm like, no. If I see a monkey, I know that this is symbolically loaded. You may think I'm crazy. You may think I'm absolutely crazy. Let's just look at this, Jordan. I want to point out a few things here. Okay. And I haven't even really looked that deeply into it. Okay. So we got the monkey. I've already laid out the reasons why I think that this is alchemically rich symbolically. Okay. He is then in a simulated environment. You see this, they're like projecting. They're projecting a forest-like environment on a sheet to make him feel at home. This is the simulated human zoos that we talked about in 2001. So we've got this unevolved creature already within a simulated environment, right? And then what are we doing? He's playing Pong. Okay, and Pong is like the first like commercially viable video game. I think there was like a one then from 1958 called Tennis for Two or something like that. It was essentially like a Pong game. Well, it is not quite, but this is the one that really first took off. And I know also that whenever there's like a first of something, like first of its kind, like that too is like this other alchemical symbol that you have to take notice of, like first man on the moon and other first things like this, right? And I'm not gonna say the next symbol here that is really rich. I want to see if you can find it. I've set it up like the monkey, the simulated environment, the Pong. Do you see any other symbols here that we've talked about in this presentation, or things that a regular person would not see as a symbol, but it's clearly a symbol, and perhaps a transformative symbol?
Where my mind went, I do not want to say on air. What's sticking out to me, I don't really want to say.
It's so obvious that it's so obvious that it's perhaps not even raising to the level of consciousness. What is he playing? What's he playing Pong on?
Yeah, we've got the.
What is he playing Pong on?
I went back to the previous slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing Pong on a monolith.
Yeah.
He's experiencing the next stage of consciousness by interacting with this monolith in a simulated environment. Zoos within zoos.
And he's like fixated on it. Yeah, zoos within zoos is what. Yeah, I think zoos within zoos is right.
And oh, come on, Luke. What else is he supposed to play it on? He's got to play it on a monolithic tablet. And what else is he supposed to do? Of course, he's got to play Pong. And of course, he's got to be in a simulated environment. And of course, it has to be a monkey. Like,
no.
Luke, stop trying to see things that aren't there. No, there's too many. There's too many all at once. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you shut me down.
Yeah.
So there's probably more. Those were the ones that first came to me.
Interesting.
One more. The monkey's name. The monkey's name.
Okay.
Pager. The monkey's name is Pager.
Okay.
Pager. What is a pager?
Like a cellular device.
A device that sends like radio signals, right?
Yeah.
So this monkey has gotten the neural link, and he's effectively a transmitting and receiving device, right? Which in a way foreshadows or perhaps reveals what some, like, perhaps I'm here because I took this freaking chip in my head, or what some individuals will do when they receive this chip in their head, they will become a technological device. It will become pagers. And what happens, like, you become a pager, you know, this is like assembly line stuff. This is reduces the doing this. If you do this, you will become like pager. Well, what is a pager? Something that can be made on an assembly line, cheap in a foreign country, and sold, and it's disposable as soon as the next upgrade happens. I think that's the other big thing here. This monkey's name is Pager.
Yeah. I don't love that.
Do you think I love it? Or you think it's wrong? I mean, why they name the monkey Pager?
No,
they could name this monkey anything. They could name this monkey
weird.
They could name this monkey Sam.
Monkey. Yes, Sam.
They could name this anything. They called it Pager, and they put this in the Mind Monkey Pong video. And it's so subliminal. It's like only the most unhinged spiritual people are going to see this. I don't think a regular person can even see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't think it's unhinged at all. Like, that's pretty gross to me.
I'm sorry. I didn't do it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that.
Unless you find yourself living in my lucid dream simulation. I'm sorry. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if they pump in these things or if they're coming from my subconscious somehow.
Can we get more like orange juice, freshly squeezed orange juice in this? Yeah.
He's sending out.
You joke. It's real. Yeah, it might happen. Yeah, that's really weird and dark. And also, like, if you think about becoming a pager, like, you're a vessel to carry out somebody else's signal versus being able to receive signal from the divine, from God, from like spirit.
Well, that's, that gets into our conversation about whether or not this technology is covering up what we naturally do already, like interacting, like, say, with the collective unconscious or God or something like that. Like, are we all like kind of God's pager in a way? Like, we already have these latent abilities, and by taking this technological step, we are cutting ourselves off from that and uploading ourselves to something else that the intentions of which are unclear.
I think that's what's going on. I really do. They have discernment.
This monkey's got a tool, like, it's going to evolve, but we have to think about what it's going to evolve into. And the message seems to be here, a technological device.
How much of 2020 was just a pressure test of like what you could get humans to do?
Do you think I know? Do you think I'm in charge of it?
No.
I mean,
but I'm just thinking like if, like, what is really the end game? And if this is the direction things are going in, then everything we experienced to them was tiny in comparison.
You probably could get people to do it. It really just depends on who's pushing it. If the right personality, because Elon's pushing this, you're not going to have, I think, people on the political left that are going to be interested in it. The people who might be interested in this are going to be like dark MAGA people, maybe. I don't even know if like the Christian.
How quickly this stuff like jumps from subculture to subculture.
Sure.
If that makes sense. Like,
yeah, if the right conditions and the right person were to promote this, I think it would be a pretty easy sell. Especially if it starts producing miracles, like making people live for 200 years and making them walk again, or resurrecting the dead or something like that. Sure. Yeah. But I think the right person, that might be a very real inflection point that, like, who, not taking this is going to mean, at least on one level, mortality and death. I think people who believe in this technology think they're going to have their consciousness uploaded and shunted around, etc., and they're going to live forever. But I guess the thing I would caution people about is, okay, like let's say that's even possible, which I have serious doubts about. Would it be, if you were able to merge with the machine and upload your consciousness and transfer it as soon as this whatever organic aspect of you dies, and you could attach yourself to something, you could grow another body, clone yourself, or whatever, right? What would it be like to be uploaded to a cloud with billions of others, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say here is careful what you wish for, because you may have a type of immortality, but not all types of immortality are desirable. And
yeah, I think about in Futurama all the heads in jars.
Yeah, the presidents and stuff like that.
Yeah. They always bring out Al Gore in a jar.
Yeah. It's like, you may live, air quotes, forever. Is this a desirable forever? Because the reason why I say that is like there's a part, the Bible sort of prophesizes this and talks about people who will seek death but are unable to find it. And that, I've always wondered about that in regards to this technological singularity or whatever, like this unification of all the different consciousness. So
yeah, it's also crazy. And then knowing that some of these occult groups believe you can direct your own reincarnation back into these bloodlines anyway, it's like, who is this for? I don't know. Like, I don't yet see the whole rollout and what it's going to be, but it does not feel like a good deal. It feels like a trick.
Mm-hmm. I won't be taking it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, haha, I get to die. You don't.
So funny.
You get to be tortured in the cloud. It may not even be like intentional. It's just the insanity of like not having the solitude of your own thoughts. It's like some Sartrean stuff. All right. I'm pretty satisfied. I think I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Okay. You feel good about it?
Yeah, this was really fun. I feel like we warmed up towards the end.
Yeah, probably the most fun stuff came at the very end, which I kind of found like just earlier today.
Yeah, okay. Super duper fun. Well, thanks, Luke. Thanks for putting this together and all the effort you put into it, as always. And I look forward to the next one.
Thank you.